A few years ago I was asked to my thoughts as a professional outdoorsman really on why people disappear from state parks. And in America there's a huge number of people that disappear, from forestry areas, from woodlands, mountain ranges, and they're never seen again. Some cases they claim are very similar, in the sense that often people are found miles from where they had left, or they find their backpack and they're found miles away, sometimes alive, sometimes dead. Some of that can be explained, when you initially know that you are lost, shock sets in, panic within the body, and you have this fight or flight. And some people that are trained will be able to take immediate actions to put their wrongdoings or wrong judgments right, if that makes any sense. Other people will tend to just ditch what they've got, lighten the body, and do a runner. When you run on adrenaline and you are pumping, you go a lot further than you can normally go. And I would dare say that would explain some of them disappearances where people flight from that immediate being lost, strayed off the trail, and they are found. Often their shoes are not on there, they kick their shoes off. That could be a response from the brain, from the body to do that. I've got no idea why somebody would take their shoes off. That's unexplainable for me as a survival consultant. I don't know the answer to that. But the strange cases are when the young kids go missing and they found hundreds of miles away. I mean, there's a case that I read back along. I am not into the Bigfoot conspiracy of in America. I think he's called David Polias, is it? Something like that. He's done a huge book, the 411 Missing People. I'm not a great believer in the Bigfoot conspiracy. I've heard some of the podcasts, and to me it's unevidence supported. You can put evidence together, but it doesn't make it right. And some evidence you look at and you want it to be there, and it's just not there. So I'm not into that side of the theory thing of why people, the Bigfoot disappearances. I don't believe that there is possibly a Bigfoot or something that's attacking and killing people. I'm not into that, or explain some of the disappearance. This can be another key factor to why people disappear. These streams and lakes, especially over in a lot of the state forests over there, are very fast flowing, and if you slip in there, your body can be found miles away. And that for sure will explain some more of the disappearances in state parks. Slip, trips and falls, as humans we go to the water courses for water supply. We take water out the streams and we use that water. One slip there on your own with a heavy pack on, your chances in a big river course is pretty limited, unless of course you've got the correct training, you didn't have your pack on. We dress appropriately for the mountain range. Unfortunately, this is not swimming or diving equipment. This is heavy clothing, and when it gets absolutely saturated wet, it's designed to repel water off it, so it don't allow water into the body. When you submerge in thick clothing, it gets exceptionally heavy, and we've tested that theory already on a course, and you wouldn't believe how heavy your equipment becomes when it's soaking wet. And I'm sure that explains some of the disappearances in state parks. I think people probably go very underprepared for walks that they take. I think they you get lapsadaisy when you walk the same area again. You know, there's several cases over there where you walk the same area, they've experienced hiker, they've walked that path dozens of times. You become lapsadaisy in equipment and safety. You let your guard down, and that's the time when things happen. You get lost, you stray off that path. And bearing in mind, it's, you know, this here is easy. You can get lost here very, very easy. But you imagine in a state park, it's like a needle in a haystack. Once you lose this track or that track, there really is no going back. People can walk for miles and miles and miles. My biggest advice to anyone, especially on state parks that are being well used, a lot of the tracks are well used. If you get lost or you think you're lost, stop and blow your whistle as loud as you can. And that's my biggest advice. Don't try and run, because the chances are you're probably not that far off your track. And in state parks, they are well used. Blow your whistle as loud as you can. 3 blows, 3 blows, 3 blows. Blow it, blow it, blow it. And for other people that are out hiking, if you hear that whistle blowing, don't ignore it. It means somebody needs help. You probably drive through the street and hear 20 burglar alarms going off and do nothing about it. In the mountains or in the hills or in forestry, you can't ignore that cry for help. That's as good as somebody saying, I need help. So don't ignore it. If you hear it, investigate it. If you need it, blow that whistle as loud as you can. That simple advice may just save your life. But after time, if nobody comes, remember the equipment in your bag and the basic supplies that you have is enough to keep you alive. And I can say that by not even telling you, I don't need to know what's inside your pack, because as long as you've got half decent clothing on, you will make the night. That'll change in winter, of course, when it's sub-zero temperatures, and then you're getting more into you need a fire, a shelter. You know, get yourself into a shelter, get yourself up against a tree and hide it out. That's what you need to do. The biggest thing, the biggest thing is not to panic. And in the fire service, I used to be in the fire service, they used to teach us not to panic. It is bloody hard not to panic, I'll tell you. Especially when the house is falling down around you. But yeah, I'm going to look more into this. I'm intrigued by this disappearances, and I'm sure there are individual cases that I'd like to look at from an independent point of view, and just pick a case and explore and examine that case until there's an outcome. Now, I know there's a lot of conspiracy over the state parks do not register missing people, and I understand that it's probably very damaging for them in that the sense that the state parks live off tourism, and if people feel that a state park isn't safe, nobody's going to go there. I mean, you'll still get the odd few, for sure. So public knowledge of that, they obviously try to keep quiet, and I'm sure that happens everywhere around the world. I'm a great believer in a lot of people as well don't want to be found. It's very easy to walk up a mountain being the person you are, and to walk out the other side being someone very different. And I think people decide to do that to reset their life. And there's a lot of people that will decide that they probably want to live in the mountains. You know, you can't outrule that. But more for me, I think people ditch their car, they ditch their equipment, they had a backup plan to get themselves out of it, and they walk off that mountain a different and new person. And we can't judge them for that. You know, you can't judge anyone. You don't know what their circumstances are and why they've done that. Some people are quite happy to do that, and if that's what they want in life, good on them. You know, if you want to reset, restart, I'm sure that happens an awful lot. But I'm going to be looking into some more cases. If you guys are interested in, you know, some of my studies and what I find, I tend to do some experiments on people. It's really difficult. I'm up in the mountains in Wales, and I tend to experiment some of them cases of what could have possibly gone on. If you want that, you know, if it's something that you want me to film and for you guys to be able to follow, stick a thumbs up on the video, and I can gauge whether it's going to be kind of worth my while posting it, or whether it's just going to be for my own information, and to obviously be able to share with the authority and bodies, if you like, that have asked some opinions on it. So I'm heading off the hill, and yeah, but look into it. Go on to YouTube and have a look at some of the strange cases. There's a guy called Randy that does kind of the 10 strange cases, and he's a great guy, great videos. Some cases very interesting, but some of them cases don't actually surprise me. So that's interesting. When it's getting dark, and I better get off this mountain, or I'll be making Randy's episode bloody 20 or something.